Hey, this is Shane,
And this is Keith.
and we are Seekers of the.
Unknown. Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Here we are,
Yes.
episode
Four.
4. You stuck with us through episode 1, 2, and 3, so thanks for coming back.
We're a little late because we had some technical difficulties, but
Yeah, and the way our schedules both work, it's like we get one shot, basically a week, and if we miss it or make a mistake, it's like, all right, we're going to have to just wait till next week. That's kind of what happened, but we're here.
so you're getting it on Tuesday.
Tuesday instead of Thursday. I have a show this Thursday that I forgot. For some reason, I thought it was Friday, but it's actually Thursday. So we're doing it today.
Nice.
And we're going to talk about something cool. Literally, pun intended. We're going to talk about
Aliens in Antarctica.
aliens and Antarctica, which is not in the North.
Antarctica is not the North Pole.
I thought it was the North Pole, but like when I looked at the map, I was like, "Oh yeah, this makes sense because I know where like Greenland and Iceland is." But for some reason, still thought just you think of Antarctica, you think North Pole, right?
Yeah. So I knew that there was like a piece of land at the South Pole, but I was like racking my brain trying to figure out what the name of it was for some reason, thinking that Antarctica was the North Pole.
Yeah, it's like
But
Antarctica's north, so it definitely can't be that. So what is that down there in the South Pole that's cold for some reason? It's actual Antarctica. So yeah, we're both idiots basically, but honestly, if you guys thought the same thing, then
we can't be the only ones that thought that. If we are,
did I just break this?
no, I broke it a
Okay.
while ago.
I have a coaster in front of me that looks like a tree, and I thought I broke it, but I didn't. I would have felt bad. All right, so Antarctica. So you might be thinking like, oh, why would they be talking about Antarctica on a podcast like this?
Penguins, polar bears.
Penguins, polar bears, lots of ice, cold temperatures.
I'm not even sure polar bears are there now that I know that it's the South Pole. So.
Yeah, no, it's like very uninhabitable. Like from what I looked it up, it's like it's just too cold um, for well, at least for people to live there.
Maybe.
Uh, yeah. So that maybe he said is what we're going to be talking about.
Could it be that we just can't go there? Maybe.
Maybe. I wonder why. You're probably wondering why, and we're gonna explain it to you in due time, my friends. So, how should we start this? Everybody knows Antarctica is a continent, and it's the southernmost tip of the Earth,
South Pole.
South Pole. It's actually bigger than what?
It's bigger than the United States.
Yeah, it's pretty massive,
It's very big.
and it's very cold. And I'm just gonna dive in.
Go for it.
And the Nazis seem to think it was very interesting to go there because all right, we all know the bad guys, the Nazis. Nobody likes the Nazis. They suck. But Hitler was very into like occult stuff and believed in like
And like
an-
ancient artifacts and stuff
yeah,
like
like they
that.
held power and stuff like that. And I believe he had a whole different like sect of his operation dedicated to like learning about this stuff,
Yeah,
providing information
yeah,
for him.
almost like he was into like exploring and like almost like archaeology
Yeah.
stuff.
So, and the at least I don't Hitler and Nazis were very fond of like what they would call like the master race, the
The
Aryans,
Aryans.
which were like the tall, blue, like blonde haired, blue eyed, people of their ancestors that held great like knowledge and power and maybe technology and lots of like secret, mysterious, majestic type of properties. And he heard from his like a little occult sect that they may have come from inside the earth, and the opening is in Antarctica. So he's like, yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's ride our boat all the way down to Antarctica And that's what they did. And what did they find?
And they actually, it was September of 38 that they went down to Antarctica to look for. They believed that there was going to be this, Aryan civilization there, and they had this technology. So their thought was to go there and make peace with them and learn their technology. And
Yeah. Um, they went there with all the expectations, and honestly, who knows what they found? They could have found that. I think they found something either. I think they either found like these people, or yeah, the people, the Aryans, or the the tall whites, right?
tall
No,
whites,
yeah,
yeah, Aryans.
Aryans, or they just found like a base there that wasn't occupied or something, and reverse engineered the technology there. So like I was thinking like how we had Roswell, the crash in Roswell, and the story goes that there was a ship there and the government confiscated the ship and reverse engineered it. I'm thinking other countries probably could have encountered similar things, and maybe the Nazis found that kind of technology in Antarctica, and with their proficient scientists and you know whatever the word, yeah, scientists or whatever, um, who are like known to just be really smart and develop all these like aircrafts and rockets and stuff like that. Maybe they found something there and reverse engineered it, and I don't know. But then you think that wouldn't they just easily win the war if that was the case? If they had that kind of technology?
Yeah, but I mean, you see, there's videos of like them with the flying bell and everything. So they had to have gotten that technology from somewhere. And even in like Nazi Germany, there was, those um like the I wanted to say Stonehenge, but like the stone round like rings that they had that supposedly housed like anti-gravity technology and things like that.
Yeah,
So if they really did go to Antarctica before the war and they found this Aryan civilization or either an existing working base or an old base that they reverse this technology, it would make sense where they would get that flying technology from.
yeah. Maybe it was Antarctica. You're talking about the ship. It was what was it called? De Glocke, which means the bell in German.
Yep.
I actually went to Germany and I learned a little bit from Duolingo, so I know D means the, and I guess Glocke means bell. But there's like pictures of it, and they actually like threw the swastika on there because they just want everyone to
Yeah.
know, like,
Yep.
yeah, this is ours. But there's like actual pictures of it.
There's like the smaller like one man flying ones. There's a video floating around out there of like a black and white of a guy flying it like above a city street. How real it is. That's the only video I've seen of it, but it's definitely out there. If you look it up on YouTube, it's there.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of investigating to talk about exactly the findings of Antarctica, what led to it, and stuff like that. And so the Nazis did, for sure, 100% go to
Absolutely.
Antarctica. About what they found there is kind of up in the air. You can say like they were looking for supplies because the war didn't start yet, but Hitler was preparing for the war, so they could have been looking for supplies that to help with the war, or they could be looking for the
But
Aryans.
how far Germany is from Antarctica? Like it's not like you can easily just get there. So
Yeah,
obviously they were planning something, or they knew something had to have been there. You wouldn't just take that trip on a risk, I feel, during that time.
yeah. And whatever it was they found, I don't know if they actually had a base there or they were just rumors, but we'll just say they had a base there. They built a base there because they found like a land there that was actually like warm and it had like actual like plant life and stuff like that
Yep.
because underground um,
there's active volcanoes and stuff under Antarctica. Like they believe that, I mean, if there's hollow Earth and there's things living under there, that's where I would believe would be the inlet to get in there.
Yeah, the like the vents, the heating vents and
Yep.
stuff like that. And they said there was just like
It was like perfect spot to have a base.
a base, yeah. So then America, how many years later? Don't remember.
They 8 years later or 9 years later, so they went in 48.
Yeah, they went. A lot of could have happened at that
Operation
time.
High Jump,
Yeah,
yeah, it
we're
was
gonna go into this
48
what we call Operation High Jump
or 47. 47,
47,
yeah, because
and
38 is when the Germans went.
all right, yeah, 38 Germans, and then would you say 1940
40, 47, so 9
47,
years.
and the U.S. went there, and what was the cover up? They were like, oh, we're going to train our people and
Yeah, to
get
do
a
like
lay of the land, and
geography studies,
but
but
we're also going to bring like all
heavily armed with the best shit that we possibly
yeah
have.
the best current weapons of the time, heavily. So it's like, all right, we're gonna go there just to research and training. Um, and if we just run into some Nazis, we'll just blow up their base, which was the actual like what the cover up was for, right? They wanted to go
Yeah, they yeah
establish
to
land there and to like if they find a Nazi base to
right if they believe that some of them when they fled, from the war that's where they went.
because of technology and whatnot, or who knows? They don't know. Maybe they had an insider, but so they what was it the admiral? They sent this
Bird.
Admiral Byrd, who just was like the most just heavily decorated like guy. Like if there's a guy for the job, it's this guy. So they sent him, or he wanted to go, or I don't even know. Maybe he wanted to go. Maybe they asked him, but he led an expedition there that was supposed to be
6 months.
yeah like 6
Six
months,
months, I believe.
and they ended up returning after like what 40 days.
40 days.
40 days, like this very expensive expedition. And I guess what the reason behind after they debriefed him because he like was pretty much saying what happened, they swore him to secrecy.
Yep.
But apparently he wrote like a secret journal, and on his deathbed, his son found it, and the journal pretty much talked about the stuff that, and he wanted the journal to go out, and it pretty much talked about how a couple things, right? First, the him flying into
Yep.
he was flying the plane into Antarctica. It was cold, obviously, and then all of a sudden his like equipment started to go haywire, which I know you were saying like
Yeah, I heard somewhere where like when you're close to north or south pole, like compasses and stuff, they don't work properly because you're so close.
to like the highly concentrated like magnetism of the Earth,
That's
which is like the
yeah.
top and the bottom.
I mean, if you're standing at dead south pole, obviously the compass isn't going to be able to. Oh, maybe who knows? Maybe it can. I
Maybe it just spins around. Maybe it opens a portal into the
Hollow Earth.
hollow Earth, which is a different dimension. We'll get into that in the future. See, I always lose my train of thought. What was I just talking about?
Bird.
Oh, his equipment. Okay, yeah. So his equipment mouth starts being weird, and then all of a sudden, he's like,
He sees something. He sees like. Does he see like
like an animal.
I think at first he sees like not lights but like weird like lake or something. That's it should be all frozen
Yeah,
desert is what I'm gonna call it. But he
yeah.
sees like land essentially.
Yeah, he sees land and like plants, like lush green fields and stuff like that, right? Doesn't he talk about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, like he's flying through like almost like a canyon with mountains and it's like forest.
And then he's like, "Yo, is that like a
A woolly
animal? Is
mammoth?
that a mammoth? Yo, let me get my binoculars. Yo, that's a freaking mammoth. what is going on? But his radio doesn't work, so he can't obviously can't say anything. And then and then he sees like crafts
Yeah,
coming
yup.
towards him. Oh no, he sees a city. Remember, he sees a city.
He sees, yeah, he sees because he flies lower,
Yeah, he flies
and then
low.
I think at that point his plane starts acting up where it's not being able to be controlled properly,
Yeah,
and that's when he sees like yeah, like a futuristic city.
sees a futuristic city. Like he basically discovers Aryan Wakanda. Maybe this is like the influence that like Wakanda in the comics came from. This story right here. But he basically sees Nazi Wakanda, Nazi Wakanda, and he's like, "Yo, what's going on?" And then the ships start coming at him, and he's just like, "Oh, maybe I should go now." But except none of his controls work. The engine stops. The
Yeah, and
propeller
then
stops.
at that point he realizes that there's two UFO shaped crafts on either side of him, almost guiding him. At that point, he can't control it.
Yeah. And here's the kicker: they have swastikas on them.
The
So
Nazis.
yeah, the Guten Tag. See, I know German, so I, Guten Tag, auf Wiedersehen, Entschuldigung. But yeah, so there's swastikas. So and they're talking to him like, "We know who you are, Admiral." It's a really bad German
Yeah, he
accent.
said they had like American accents, but slightly German.
Yeah, and they're like, "We're gonna land you safely. Don't worry. We're in control, basically." Like, and so it lands nice, like nice and peacefully, and he's greeted by our wonderful friends, the Aryans.
The Aryans.
Yeah, he said that they said they're tall. Basically, the textbook like Aryan. I don't know how much we talked about them in the previous episodes yet,
I don't think
but
we've gotten there yet, but they're like the blonde hair, blue eyes, like I guess the definition you would think of it as just like a human, just
yeah.
very intelligent,
Hmm.
very
And they call themselves. They were like, they're not the Aryans. They're the Arialis or something like that. Which I mean, I can obviously
Arianials or something.
Aryanis. Yeah, some crazy word that's similar to Aryans. And they're just like, "Oh, we're gonna show you to our master." So this is getting weird. So he's just like, "All right, I guess. Like, what choice do you have at that point? Some crazy aliens just land your ship for you, and they greet you, and they're like, 'Oh, hi. We've been watching humans forever, and we don't want to intervene because you guys are very immature stage, and you guys are playing with atomic energy, and you shouldn't be doing that.'" Slapping on the hand. No, no,
And
no.
what's we're gonna drift but not drift. But what's crazy about that is, when they're saying like, "Hey, we've tried making contact with you," the aliens or the Aryans are saying, "We've tried making contact with you. You guys always like try to fight us and shoot back and stuff like that." Like it's true. Like the Battle of Los Angeles, the lights off, off the coast. What did we do? We fired thousands of rounds at it
Yeah,
instead of actually seeing what it was. So, I mean, it is true. We seem to just try to destroy everything we see instead of figuring out what's going on.
yeah. But on the same side, it's like if you're such a highly advanced species, why would you just like come at us like that? Like you should. There's other communicative, methods to sending messages to people. Instead of like if I want to like talk like I didn't know you and I wanted to talk to you, I'm not gonna like drive at you like 100 miles an hour in my
Yeah.
car. You know what I mean? I'm gonna like try to wave you down or like look you up on like social media. Like, hey man, what's
Hey,
up?
what's up?
Like you know,
Start throwing rocks at somebody.
yeah, you know. If somebody's driving at me at like 40 miles an hour, and I have like a weapon, I'm gonna, obviously coming at me, like you're trying to kill me. I'm just gonna fight back. I don't know, but I don't know. I kind of want to meet them. I wish it was me, not Admiral Byrd. But
But yeah, I know, Bird, he met with them and they said like, we've tried making contact with you, but you guys fight us and whatever. And then that was almost pretty much it. Then they kind of just let him go and flew him out of whatever world or wherever he was in Antarctica.
Yeah, and he did lose 3 hours
3 hours.
of his, recorded time. A guy who literally wrote down everything that he did, everything in his journal. There's 3 hours unaccounted for.
And he was in a small plane that he would have ran if he was actually flying for that long. He
Yeah.
would have ran out of fuel.
Yeah, and if he wasn't flying, like it's so cold, you can't just be chilling in
Right.
Antarctica, unintended.
And he even said the temperature was what, 74 degrees or something like that. It was
Yeah, and this lush.
noticeably warmer.
Yeah, he found Wakanda. Wakanda. Uh, Black Panther wasn't there. It was the White Panther. All right, let me stop. I'm a nerd, so like I'm gonna reference a lot of like comic book stuff, maybe sometimes anime. I'll try not to as much, but sometimes it'll just come out. So, so yeah, so basically, oh, my voice cracked. Basically, he got back, debriefed the government, and they're just like, "Yo, don't talk about this anymore."
Yeah, just
Typical
you didn't
government
see
stuff.
that.
Some
This
minute,
didn't
some men in
happen.
black just surrounded him, and were just staring at him, with their creepy blankless stares, and probably threatened all of his family and loved ones, and was like, "Yeah," or threatened to like phase him out of existence if he said anything. So
But it was shortly after that incident where the what was it, Little America, they wanted to call the small base that Operation High Jump was setting up on Antarctica. That's when they started seeing UFOs, which they thought were other ships,
oh yeah, I
until
forgot
they
about that
started
part.
going into the
Yeah,
water. This was after Admiral Byrd got back from that weird flight. That's when
yeah,
they started seeing like UFOs and things like
because
that.
they were still advancing towards.
Correct. They were still trying to explore whatever, or for whatever reason they were there, they were still acting on it.
So this is like some straight sci-fi, like battleship, like crazy. I don't know. Like I would like to see like this into film or something. But this next part. So basically, like they're on the boat, the ships or whatever, like the all the ships, and they start to see like objects like shooting out of the water vertically,
Yeah. Yep.
and I forgot exactly how it went down. I'm trying to remember.
I don't know if we just it wouldn't surprise me at all if we decided to fire upon them,
Yeah,
and that's how everything started.
yeah, they're probably like shooting out the water, or like hovering in the area, like saying like, oh, like apparently they were trying to ward us off, like go away. And
That's what I heard and believe. I think they were obviously they didn't want us to see whatever was there. There's clearly something there,
so
and they were trying to tell us like, hey,
and it was either like the Aryans or the Nazis or a combination of the two, because we think they had like some kind of pact thing going on, kind of like with us and the Greys.
yeah, yep.
You know, it's like there's just like I just finished talking about how I like to compare things to anime. There's this anime series called Fate, where like these magicians form pacts with like different legendary like figures throughout time, like Alexander the Great or Gilgamesh, stuff like that. And they form pacts with them, and they have to like borrow their power and stuff like that. And they fight against one another. So it's like America is the magician forming a pact with the Greys,
Grease.
and then the Nazis, are the magicians forming the pact with the Aryans. And it's like, but anyway, back on track. Uh, we probably fire at them, and then they just start going, "Oh, I don't know what you guys think you're doing with your primitive projectile weaponry, but we're gonna flex on you a little bit." And then they like sink like a ship, or like
I think they,
they shot like a beam of like heat energy or something.
yeah, and I know like one of our big ships, or the big ship that we had, it burst into flames and
Yeah,
sank,
yeah.
and
So they were flexing on some like weird futuristic technology, like energy based weapons. straight out of like a sci-fi movie. And it was not the whole like fleet. It was just like a couple or a few ships.
Yep.
And then the admiral's like, "All right, turn around. We're going back." And that's why they left early.
They said that Operation High Jump ended because due to weather conditions, but with all the supplies and everything that they brought, they knew what the weather conditions were going to be going there. So for them to say, "Hey, we're going to be there for 6 months and then leave after 40 days," that's very suspicious.
That's so sus. That's so sus. If I was playing Among Us, I would definitely vote U.S. as being, the imposter. 'Cause that's sus right there. You ever play Among Us?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay. But uh, very interesting story. It's a very cool. It's probably my favorite, like one of my favorite, like not like paranormal or whatever subjects is like that whole thing
I
with Antarctica.
I love that whole era with World War II and that like looking for advanced technology and stuff, and it's just such a cool story to add to that whole thing. And maybe a lot of people don't even know about it. It's not like it's really talked about.
No, I mean,
Antarctica itself is very mysterious when it comes to all that stuff too. Like you can dive into it as and kind of end up at the same place where it's more unknown and there's a lot of weird stuff there that
scientific stuff. Like they just like recently in like the last like year or so, right? They like dug like what 2 miles into the
yeah,
ice, and it was just like a geology team just trying to dig to see what they can find. And the camera that they
they
sent
hit
down,
water.
yeah, they hit
Well,
water,
yeah,
and they hit a rock by accident, and you can see like you can literally watch the video of the camera going down and bumping into a rock and then like wiggling a little bit and going back down, and then they showed it to like their scientist buddy, and he's like, "Yo, yo, wait, rewind, rewind, slow it down," and it shows like the rock and there's a bunch of stuff on the rock, and he's like, "Where did you get this?" And they were like, "Whatever, many miles
I
down
think it
below."
was like 2.1 miles below sea level. Yeah, and then they found
He was like, he's like,
like
"You found life. There's life on
life
the
on
rock."
this rock.
It's like animals. It was some kind of sponge, or I forgot the exact term, whatever sponge or whatever. And he was like describing the characteristics of this animal, and that's that's wild, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very recent, so that means I'm sure there's more plans of going there and seeing, like, digging deeper. The problem is it's hard getting our kinds of like vehicles and tools down there because it's just so cold and there's so much ice that it's like the fact that they hit a rock. It's like a such a odd like a high like
Yeah, there's nothing down there, and then there's just this random like boulder
yeah.
with life on it.
But so yeah, if you look into Antarctica, you'll find stuff like that. There's what else?
But you know, you can go on Discovery or National Geographics and see all the Antarctica expeditions and stuff like that. But after Project High Jump, the United Nations they made a pact where Antarctica is off limits. There
Yeah,
is a huge, huge square mile section that nobody's allowed to go to.
yeah, they can like
And
touch the outskirts a little bit, right
yeah,
around
there's
the.
only a couple designated areas, which is just all the more reason to believe that there is something there that we shouldn't know about. It would make sense.
Yeah,
Like,
if every single country, or like, well, not every country, but like United Nations are like, nobody's touching this area. It's either like, oh, we don't want to like a country to claim it, or there's something there that doesn't want to be bothered,
and you can
or they
say,
don't want to bother.
oh, you can look at the whole thing on Google Maps. It's just a image. Photoshop, you could make the whole thing look like a piece of ice.
Yeah, they can do
It's
whatever. They block stuff off on Google Earth and Google Maps all the time.
and
So
just the people that are able to look on Google Maps. I mean, now like found a pyramid in
Yeah,
Antarctica. Like
they're saying that over the years of the melting ice, it's like a pyramid, and
they're
they show like
like
the shape and everything.
legit like perfect pyramid, and they say that it's like perfect compared to the ones in Egypt. There's I mean they're all over, but it would be the largest of all of them on Earth.
Yeah, it's wild. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
the whole saucer thing.
Yep.
Somebody on Google Earth or Google Maps found what looked to be like a disc protruding from like a cave or like a hole or something like that. And it definitely, you look at it, it's like definitely a disc.
To me, if I look at it, yeah, it's metallic and it's sticking out of the rocks where the ice is melted away.
And it's, you can say, sure, like Mother Nature probably could have some kind of weird development, formation of something like that happening. It's not unheard of, but do yourself a favor and just Google Antarctica UFO disc
Yeah.
found and be the judge for yourself. Like, look at that and tell me that's not a disc, flying saucer or some kind of something.
It makes a lot of sense because they say that Antarctica is like the most sterile place on Earth. So it's comparable to like Mars, pretty much like similar, like even like the landscape is the same. And they, that would be the perfect place for an alien if they wanted to go anywhere, would be there.
Yeah, if I'm trying to be low key and stay out of everybody's radar, I would probably go to Antarctica because nobody's there. Exactly, it's too cold.
Mm-hmm.
It's lifeless, cold, uninhabited because it's too hard to do anything. And I would probably either find like that vent of heat in the middle that nobody can access, or build it underground or underwater because there's a lot of you know theories or conspiracy about the bases being underwater, underground.
That's what I believe. With all the talks of UFOs coming out of the ocean and people seeing them come out of the ocean and stuff like even out of like coming out of volcanoes in Antarctica, having underground volcanoes where they say that the temperatures under Antarctica are warm enough that they could, you know, there could be living things under there. It makes a lot of sense. But I believe that there has to be some sort of underground city or something under Antarctica, whether it's in the water and there's like bubbles,
Hmm.
because there's a story about these explorers or whatever from Antarctica, either from the you know Little America base that I believe is still there, or this Area 52 military base that you can't see that's on there. Um, that they were exploring the water and they saw these creatures, and when they realized they looked like they were like aliens in these suits, almost like scuba suits with these big like bubble helmets.
Hmm.
So they tried to capture one or whatever, and it let off like an electric pulse, and it really messed them up. I think it killed one of them, and it gave one like the bends,
Yeah.
and then they took off. But
Looks like another like warning thing. Like, don't get too close, or this is gonna happen to you.
with nobody going there and not being able to explore and everything, it's the perfect place for a civilization like that to exist there, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
There's definitely a reason why we're not exploring that whole thing. We could easily fly over it. We could
Yeah,
easily get to
especially now. I
all
mean,
parts of
we
it.
have to have like the technology to like just fly over and scout it,
Absolutely.
but maybe not with the pole and the magnetism and stuff. I don't know. I mean, they flew over the North Pole, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. Because I think that Admiral Byrd guy did fly over the North Pole, like in
Yeah, I
one of his
think, yeah,
expeditions.
yep.
So who knows? Um,
I mean, there's so much there. There's the pyramid sightings. There's the UFO sticking out of the ground. There's,
The thing
you
you
know,
just said with underwater thing, that's scary.
but there's reports of like, underground like caverns and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
to me, I believe that there's something there.
There's even a theory if you guys are into like Atlantis and all of that mystery, there's like even talks about Atlantis being where Antarctica is, uh, like underneath all the ice and stuff. And there was like it froze over for whatever reason. The pole shifts back in the day, and Plato like talks about it. And I would like to do a future episode on Atlantis. That'll probably take
Uh,
like a couple episodes because there's so much with that. But just one of them, it's that it was in Antarctica.
yep.
I don't know. Yeah, when the poles shifted, lands went different places and stuff like that. So it could have went there. I'm trying to think how old they think the ice has been there. Scientists have saying, but it,
I don't think that it's been there as long as they originally thought it's been there, because
yeah,
they can measure like the freezing and melting layers of the ice. Like, they're able to count it and calculate it that way.
yeah, and I'm sure in the beginning they were like, "Oh, the ice has been here for X million years," and then now they're like, "Oh, wait, actually, maybe not that long." Who knows? So much mystery. So you're probably all like, "Oh wow, I had no idea there's this much like mystery behind, you know, a freaking chunk of ice
I mean, they've even found rocks there and stuff that you know
native to there."
aren't native to there. And in the 80s, they found a piece of rock that was actually from Mars that happened to be in Antarctica, and they found like a fossilized primitive life in the rock,
Oh, that's wild.
which is, to me, is crazy. Did it come from Mars? I'm a big, you know, I love all this expedition of Mars and trying to find life up there and everything that's going on. So to have that connection to Earth,
We compared it
is
earlier too.
Antarctica, yeah, is
That was funny.
Antarctica the travel point? Is that why the pyramid is there? Were we using the theory of pyramids being uh
Like beacons.
navigators, and how none of them have a point at the top? They're all missing. Is there some sort of, you know is that where they would land up there? Because there's the video I know I sent you of the guy who flies over one of the pyramids. There's all the writing and stuff
Yeah,
on the top of it. It's not a point, and it's not like it's broken off.
yeah.
There's something missing to conveniently all of the pyramids.
Could mean something crazy.
That could be like the main base. The Aryans are there.
Yeah. I straight up want to go there, like so bad now. Like I'm scared. Like I would be scared, but I would be like, I would go. Like if we got offered like right now,
I'd go.
I would go.
I'd go.
I want to know. If things start shooting at us, then I'd be like, all right, we should probably go back. But if they, take control of the plane, land us, and show us their crazy technology, I would go. I'd be sworn to secrecy. I don't care. I just want to know. I just want to be the seeker of the unknown, even if it's just known to me. And then we'll do a secret episode that you can only access through a future Patreon episode. And we'll talk about what we saw there. And that'll probably be the end of the podcast because we'd get arrested for.
You're gonna have to get like one of the decoder rings from the Ovaltine, and we'll make a secret code,
Oh,
and
man.
then you have to depict it with the.
We can do some like national treasure stuff too. We're like, you have to depict it, and then you go to this location, and once you get to that location, you find like, I don't know, a document or like a picture. The Mona Lisa's looking this way, so then you go towards that, and eventually you'll find the secrets of Antarctica.
Like a Sears of the Unknown treasure hunt.
Oh yeah, that'd be a fun thing.
Hell yeah.
Like even outside of like Antarctica, just doing a future like scavenger hunt thing. I don't know how that would work, but anyway,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the mystery of Antarctica. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. No, I think that's it.
So do you believe there's got to be something there?
I think that yes, there is a thriving civil alien race there, probably. And we say alien, but like who knows? Maybe they were here
I
before
mean,
us.
there's even the face. There's like
I was
coming
trying to
out of
find stuff on that, but I didn't see a lot.
no, it's I they say that there's the giant pyramid. I think there's more than one. I think there's like three of them. I think they said they found or two.
Hmm.
Um, there's like that giant stone alien face that they said they found as the ice was melting.
Which is also like Mars, because isn't there like an alien face on Mars?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of so there's a lot of similarities between Antarctica and Mars, and who knows, maybe Antarctica was the first inhabited place by aliens.
That's true.
Because if at one point all of the continents were one, that had to be connected to something.
So yeah, so the Martians landed in Antarctica and founded Atlantis, and then Atlantis did all their stuff, and they were just advanced and stuff like that. And maybe there's people there, and they just helped them out with technology and taught them stuff, and then the pole shifted because I guess they just do that every so million years or billion years or something. And it can be tomorrow. Like we can just be chilling, working, watching TV, and then the poles are just like, all right,
They just flip and we
and
all fly into space and
yeah, and the world just ends again. And people will be talking about how America was was Atlantis or something. But but yeah, they could have landed there, and then when the pole shifted, Antarctica just, I mean, Atlantis just kind of went to the south tip and froze over because there's no sun there or something.
huh?
So whatever reason Antarctica froze over happened, and
Isn't
there
there
we
like
go.
6 months of light there?
Oh really?
I think.
I don't know how this stuff works. I
Yeah.
should go to school for it, to be honest. But
It's been
like
a long time.
like I said, we're not like professionals in this field. We're just nerds who are super into space and aliens and
Just talking about
stuff.
yeah.
Stuff that apparently you all also like to hear or talk about, or else you wouldn't be listening. So that's that. But yeah, I believe that there are aliens there. Nobody wants to touch it because they tried to before and got shot down. And I know that was like a long time ago at this point, so who knows what could have happened between then and now. I don't know how often expeditions are out there now, and if they still only touch like the tips of them, like the coasts of Antarctica. But
I think the craziest part is that there is an actual world pact that there's a large part of it that nobody's allowed to go to.
yeah, that's
Like if there was nothing there, there would be no reason why we can't go. We've gone everywhere. You know, why
yeah.
are we not
We're going to the
exploring?
moon, literally,
We're going to Mars.
in Mars.
Why
Yeah,
are we not exploring why are we not exploring our own land?
and it's so accessible. It's literally
It's
there.
right there. I mean, there's even parts of the ocean we haven't explored yet, but
Oh, really?
probably under Antarctica, if I had to guess, or around it.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. We're probably gonna make an Instagram for this, which will probably be like Seekers of the Unknown, something similar. When we do it, we'll let you know.
Even
But
I'm even thinking, we do the Instagram and even things we talk about. If we throw up, images or links to all, stuff that we've read or seen, and that would be a good way for other people to share with us if they wanted to as well.
give us ideas and stuff like that too. So keep an
Definitely.
eye out for that very soon. And
Yeah.
yeah, that pretty much concludes it. Antarctica,
So yeah,
ice, ice, baby.
ice, ice, baby. Until next time.